The throne hall of the luminary crown had never been silent till the day the human envoy arrived. That silence carried through every archway and every crystal column as if the palace itself held its breath. The queen, known to her people as Reina, stood at the center platform, her silver crest shimmering beneath the light of floating prisms. Her world depended on the alliance that had brought this human across the stars, and she hoped he would prove worthy of the ancient vow that bound there. Two civilizations. The man named Aaron walked forward with calm steps. His boots echoed across the polished floor, while many alien nobles watched him with unease. No one had seen a human in their palace before, and stories of the species always spoke of unmatched or an unpredictable spirit, and feats no other kind dared attempt. Reina studied him closely, trying to understand why her council insisted on forming a union with this outsider. The political treaty demanded a symbolic bond, and she had agreed to the marriage only because duty required it. Her people needed protection from the Void Swarm, a force that swept through systems without mercy. She believed the human alliance might help, but she doubted one solitary human could provide real strength. Aaron bowed slightly, a gesture he had been instructed to offer, though he seemed unsure of the customs. His movements lacked the elegance of luminary formality, but there was a steadiness in him that many found unsettling. He met the queen's gaze without hesitation, and something unfamiliar stirred within her. The binding ceremony was completed swiftly. A luminous band wrapped around their forearms, signaling the union that tied two worlds. Aaron did not seem intimidated by the event. While many of her own elite trembled before the radiant energies, he simply watched the light fade as though witnessing an everyday occurrence. Reina felt conflicted. Her new husband did not show fear, awe, or confusion. He behaved as if he belonged in the palace among the most advanced species of the sector. His confidence upset her expectations and left her wondering whether the rumors about humans were more accurate than she believed. For several weeks, Aaron lived within the palace, learning their traditions and joining diplomatic sessions. He rarely spoke, but when he did, his words carried a quiet authority. He never raised his voice, yet others fell still. Whenever he offered a thought, Reina began to notice that even the proud counselors paused when Aaron gave a single remark. Still, she remained skeptical. She had not seen any true sign of the supposed human power that filled the legends. Her people admired technology and precision. She doubted a human known for instinct rather than discipline could impress her. Trouble arrived sooner than expected. The Void Swarm broke through the border and devoured two frontier stations without hesitation. Panic spread through the palace as refugees poured in, carrying fragments of devastation and fear. Reina prepared to send evacuation orders while gathering every battalion she could muster. Aaron observed the chaos with an expression that confused her. He seemed calm, not detached, but certain, as though he recognized the pattern of the threat. Others panicked, yet he remained focused. She demanded to know why, and he answered with quiet clarity, saying he had faced things that moved like storms and roared without sound, and that humanity had learned to survive what seemed impossible. Swarm unleashed assault drones upon the palace itself, forcing shields to ignite across the capital city. The ground shook with the weight of impacts. Reina stood ready with her guard, prepared to fight her last battle if needed. But Aaron stepped forward and asked her to fall back. She nearly refused. No one ordered a queen to leave her own defense line, but there was something in his voice that commanded trust, not arrogance, but resolve anchored in something deeper than duty. Reina hesitated. Only a breath before allowing him space to move ahead. The sky split open as a massive swarm vessel descended, tendrils of dark energy sweeping across the city. Aaron moved toward the blast gates with a pace neither rushed nor fearful. He raised his hand, and for a moment, Reina wondered if he had lost his mind, for no weapon rested there, and no shield shimmered to life. Then something changed. The air rippled around him, as though the atmosphere itself obeyed some hidden force. a pulse of invisible strength radiated outward, and the tendrils of the swarm halted mid-descent. The drones that had been tearing through turrets suddenly froze, suspended in strange stillness. Raina stared, unable to comprehend what she witnessed. She had studied countless forms of energy manipulation, but nothing resembled what the human displayed. It felt ancient, primal, yet perfectly controlled. Eren stood at the center of the distortion, and with slow certainty, he closed his hand. The halted drones imploded one by one and fell to the ground like shards of dark glass. Nobles gasped, guards stumbled back. Engineers watching the battlefield from higher platforms shouted in disbelief. Raina herself felt her pulse hammering with astonishment, existence itself trembling at the revelation that this quiet human carried a force beyond calculation. Eren turned slightly and asked her to direct all remaining power cores to the central tower. Raina obeyed before realizing she had done, so instinct guided her more than logic. She activated the relay, and energy surged through the city, converting the tower into a conduit. Another gesture, Eren gathered the stream of energy and shaped it into a column of radiant force. The beam erupted upward, surrounding the swarm vessel in a storm of light. The monstrous craft dissolved under the onslaught, collapsing into particles that vanished on the wind. Silence spread across the city once more, not from fear, but from awe. A human alone had stopped what entire fleets failed to slow. Raina felt her breath catch as she struggled to understand the magnitude of what she had just seen. Eren approached her with the same calm presence he always carried, but now she felt a new weight behind it. He explained that humans were not born with this strength, but forged by centuries of survival in a universe that often pushed them beyond their limits. Some individuals carried abilities shaped by experience and extraordinary circumstances. He claimed no title and sought no praise. He acted because it was needed, and because she and her people mattered to him. Now Raina realized her earlier doubts had formed from pride and misunderstanding. She had measured him by the elegance of luminary tradition, not by the resilience of a species that had carved its place in the galaxy. Through relentless courage, she saw him not as a symbolic groom, but as a companion whose strength surpassed fear and whose loyalty surpassed expectation. The council gathered soon after begging Eren to teach their defenders whatever he could. He agreed, though he reminded them that true power grew from conviction, not technique. Still, he trained them, guiding their focus, helping them channel their own abilities so they might stand stronger than ever. Before Raina watched him each day, her admiration grew, not only for his power, but for his restraint. He never flaunted his strength, never demanded authority, and never sought to overshadow her leadership. Instead, he offered gentle support and unwavering commitment, making it clear he saw her not as a political requirement, but as a partner who shared the burden of protecting their people. The bond between them deepened, slowly built upon honesty rather than ceremony. He learned her customs with humble respect. While she explored his origins with genuine interest, she discovered that humans treasured emotion as much as determination, and that their strange, unpredictable nature came from a heart that refused to surrender to despair. And revealed stories of his childhood, of storms that shattered the lands of his home and challenges that shaped him into someone who refused to lose hope, even when hope seemed foolish. Raina found herself sharing memories she had never spoken aloud, and she felt a sense of peace she had long believed impossible for a ruler born into endless responsibility. Together, they rebuilt the defenses of the capital, improving systems and designing new protocols. Eren insisted on preparing for the next swarm wave, believing that the enemy would not accept their defeat quietly. His insight proved correct when scouts reported a massive fleet entering the system, a force far larger than the first. Raina felt fear stir within her, but this time she did not face it alone. Eren stood at her side, radiating quiet certainty. She realized then that his true power was not the energy that shattered enemy vessels, but the strength that anchored those around him, reminding them that even the darkest horizon could be challenged. The fleet-arrived Aaron stood atop the central tower. He did not unleash a single devastating blow, as he had before. Instead, he guided the luminary themselves, channeling their combined energies into a unified front. He amplified their strengths, drew clarity from their focus, and connected their efforts into one radiant wave. The combined force tore through the invading fleet, eliminating threat after threat until the final flagship crumbled under the onslaught. The people of the capital erupted with triumphant cheers, and Reyna felt pride swell in her chest. Pride for her people and pride for the human who believed in their worth even before they believed in themselves. After the battle, Reyna approached Aaron with gratitude. She told him that his presence had changed not only the fate of her world, but the course of her own life. She admitted that she had once questioned their union, but now she understood that destiny often revealed itself only through challenge, and Korajiran smiled softly and replied that he never expected greatness from destiny, only opportunity. He valued the trust she had given him, and he promised to walk beside her through every trial ahead. The two stood overlooking the luminous city below the lights, flickering like stars, and Reyna realized that her astonishment had transformed into admiration, respect, and something deeper that she chose not to name yet. In time, their union became more than diplomatic alliance. It became a symbol of harmony between two very different civilizations, combining the logic of the luminary and the unyielding will of humanity. Their worlds grew stronger than either had imagined, and their people learned to look at each other with hope rather than suspicion. Reyna never forgot the moment she witnessed Aaron's true power, but she understood now that the most astonishing part of him was not the energy that answered his call, but the compassion that guided his actions and the devotion that shaped every decision he made. Under his guidance, her world stood unbroken, and under her leadership, his strength found purpose. They forged a future neither species could have built alone, a future born from courage, unity, and the promise that even the most distant hearts could find meaning together. And in the quiet hours when the palace rested beneath silver light, Reyna often looked at Aaron and remembered the day she first doubted him, only to discover that the universe still held wonders capable of reshaping fate. Her human husband had shown his real power, and she was no longer astonished. She was honored.